Okay, so this video is going to be a little bit all over the place. I'm going to try to answer a few burning questions about the whole thing, the whole mess that is web development. And by a few questions, I mean one, maybe two questions. I'm in a browser right now. I'm going to go to my GitHub account to have it loaded, have my page, the one I'm working on currently, the class I'm addressing is ITSC 1411. I'll go to that repository. This one actually, if you notice, it doesn't have a .io in the back. This is actually a branch, and I can show you how to do that if you're interested. And why wouldn't you? It's more Git. Git is all over the place. It's exciting technology, really. If this is what you like, I think you would appreciate it. Let me find out, first of all, where this is going to publish. This is kept in a repository as the .io sites are, except there's a little bit of tweaking here. I can share some videos with you that I've done for the classes. If I go to my pages in my settings, click the gear settings for this particular branch, it tells me where my site is being published. It's not at idtprof.com/something.io or even github.com/idtprof/something else. It's an exclusive directory, ITSC 1411. I can right click and open this in a new link, and I can see what my site has to offer. The question I want to answer is some people are having issues uploading images to the website, to their repository. Let's see how I can manage to do something like that with this brand new tool, once again, brand new to me, that I'm using. And it's Visual Studio Code, which has been around for a while, and it's just as big a standard as Atom is, except that now that Microsoft owns GitHub, I think they're getting their act together and they're really pushing forward with some really cool stuff. So this is week 4. In my week 4 folder, I currently have a site. That's for the first part of the assignment. If I were to go to that directory, week 04, notice the importance of uniform naming conventions. I know exactly where this is and where to go. Somebody asked the question, well, if we're going to have a second website for week 4, can it be in the same directory, or do we need a new directory? And it's totally up to you. I leave it up to your file management prowess. Please, if you don't know what file management is and you plan to be in IT, get to know file management. So important. I've been doing it since I was 13 years old. That's a long, long time. I know. So, I still have issues going back and forth in some places. So just get familiar with it. Get to know as much as you can about file management. At any rate, I'm on week 4 in the folder that I want. My new favorite tool is pressing the dot tool, the dot key, the period, the one right underneath the greater than key. Sets up my web editor. Mine's already set up the way that I like it. Yours might look different when you click the period key, the dot key. It shows me my directory. I'm on week 4 and I have all these files in here. The main thing that I think it's something that I hadn't even thought about. I know that it's now great that I can just go in there directly and edit my files inside of this application, is that now I have full control of file management. I don't have to be jerking around the renaming of files, moving of files by going onto the GitHub website and messing with it, or even doing it in Atom and then re-uploading and crossing my fingers and hope that something happens. Instead, I can go directly to my directory structure. I'll right-click on week 4 and create a new folder. I have everything for this Dove website. It's bird watching. I could call it bird watching, but I think Dove, D-O-V-E, is just shorter. I know it's shorter. So I create a new folder called Dove. I'll click on the first file, press and hold the Shift key so that everything that I click after is selected. I could move them one by one, but I got them all now. Now that they're all selected, I can drag and drop the files, just like I would in a desktop environment. Are you sure you want to move all these files? Yes, move them. So now all the files are staged to be put into the new folder called Love, which is inside of week 4. And I say staged because they have not been moved. Notice my icon here to the left, it tells me that there's been 22 changes that have happened. And what's happened is that because we're working in a Linux environment up in the cloud, things not only got moved, they got deleted, and then they got placed somewhere else. So the move option has lots of moving parts. I'm going to accept the stage changes. I can click on the icon there to the left. It tells me everything that's happened. It's gotten rid of all the files inside of the directory and then recreated them in that other directory. I will click, before I accept, I have to put in a message, and I can say move files to the directory. And then click on the check mark saying it's done. I can commit this. And I've said it before in many a video about GitHub, that commit is the equivalent of saving. And now more than ever, this is true. By committing, I have saved all those changes. I can click back on the Explorer to see what's going on. I have my week 4 with a dub folder inside. This is the dub folder right here. I'll click on it just to make sure that that's what I'm looking at. And I've got all my files. Bird watching, I will reload, see if anything's changed. And just like regular GitHub uploading, etc., the changes take a little bit to actually get through. In the meantime, I think I forgot to keep open a version of the GitHub. So I'll just open a new tab, go to the ITSC 1411 repository, go back to week 4, which now has a dub folder, and it's showing it right there. It's actually the whole thing, week 4 in dub. If I click on week 4, I see that week 4 has no files, but it does have that folder in there. But if I click, I can see the contents as well. Bird watching by now has changed. So week 4, which has no files except that directory, now has a dub folder. So if I add dub at the end of week 4, I expect to see the website that's being hosted there. So great. I think that is one thing that I want to show you. I showed you that we can do file management using VS Code Online. So much simpler than downloading and re-uploading and messing with the files in 2 different places. The other thing I want to show you is how to upload an image to the environment. And this is just something that I tried a few minutes ago, about an hour ago, but let's see if it still works. I want to be in week 4, and in week 4 I'm going to create yet another folders because I want to have another page. So if think of it as 2 separate files, or rather websites inside one folder. I have the dub content. I'll right click on week 4 and create a new folder, and I'm going to call this quote. Or no, I'll just say something simpler. I'll say my page. No spaces, all lowercase. So here now my week 4 has 2 folders. I can minimize dub so it doesn't show me all the files, but I know that they're there. And now I have another one called my page inside of week 4. Inside of my page, I can right click, tell it to create a new file, which will be another index.html. And that way, each one of these directories has its own index.html file, which do different things. We can add sufficient code to link both of these and an entire new website if we wanted to. We have a lot of space to work with. Right now, though, I'm just interested in this index file that is blank. Just because I always need advice from the internet. How do I put in an image? Well, I know that W3 Schools can tell me. If I go to W3 Schools and look for HTML image, IMG, the first thing that should pop up is an image tag. and it will give me sample code. It's for a girl in a jacket. I'm just going to select all of that text and copy it and bring it over to the file that I am editing. And I'll drop it in there. Control V as in Victor. I don't have an image yet, but I'm hosting it somewhere else. Well, now that I think about that, let's try two different things. I know. It's exciting. It's new. I'm looking outside of the box. I have a file in my desktop that I'm going to rename as quote.jpg. But just believe me, trust me, it's there. It's called quote.jpg. I will now go to my page again, and I can right click and tell it to create another folder. I don't have to. I could put all the images in the same folder like Dove has. But let's play with another folder that's going to be called images. I'm going to have two images for this one too. There's nothing there in images currently. In index though, it's looking for a file that doesn't exist. This image girl.jpg, it's got the alternate text, girl in a jacket, and it's got width and height for that picture. We're going to change all that in a couple of seconds. I need to bring in an image that I have on my desktop that's called quote.jpg. I'll click on images just to make sure that it's there. I mean, the directory is there. I'll right click on images and tell it to upload. I will look in my desktop and I can find this quote.jpg. That's the file I want, and it's uploaded it, and actually it's nice enough that it shows me what this image looks like. It's staged. As I can tell there, I have two stage files, two pending changes. I have not committed anything yet. In images, there's the index file still. I have image source pointing to imagegirl.jpg from that sample. I'm going to say, well, look in the images folder, backslash and quote.jpg. It's not girl in a jacket. It's a Carl Jung quote. And the width, I'm not sure what the width is precisely on this. I can tell you that I'm going to look at the properties on the desktop, and maybe I can bring this into the recording. Right click, selected properties is telling me, well, this file size is 77K. It's a small file. And if I get some details about it, it tells me that it's 953 pixels by 1080 pixels. 953 by 1080. So sort of a standard file. 953 seems to be a little bit big. So 953 by 1080. I'll go into my code. I'll say that this is going to be 953 by 1080. Now, I don't necessarily want it that size. Not yet. This will assure that the dimensions are proper. I could go and do a little bit of math to make sure that I can get a smaller file. What if I wanted this to be only 500 pixels as opposed to 953? Then how high does it need to be? Like I said, there's plenty of conversion tools online, but just for now, I'm going to get rid of that height and just say force this to be 500 pixels wide, and then the browser will figure out the rest. I'm still missing a whole bunch of basic code because this is just a sample, but HTML being forgiving, I'm going to ask it to put a header on top and say my page with a quote, and then a paragraph that simply states this is a sample page with a picture. Because in the end, this is not part of the exercise. This is just a sample. Pay attention to how the code is being used, how it's being worked, how the directories are being created, how we can upload images directly to the content there. If this doesn't work for you, let me know. But I'm hoping that it works okay, because it's worked multiple times in the last few minutes. Yes, but I haven't had any issues with it yet. I'm going to, once again, select the source control icon and tell it that I have added a new file and image, and commit change. And I can go back to my Explorer. It shows me what my directory looks like. I have an index page, that I should have moved at some point. Or no, wait. That's my page, sorry. That's my page with an index file, and it's got the images inside that contain the quote.jpg, images/quote.jpg. I think that I'm only talking right now so that it gives it a chance to upload the files, but since I already have, or I should have, a page loaded, and I don't. Yes, it is bird watching right here. I know that Dove is the other directory that I have. I think I called the other one my page. Now go there, and I can see that my page now accepted the image that was uploaded. It has the code, which is very simple. This is a sample page with a picture, and it's got the quote. I'll right-click on that picture and tell it to inspect it. Actually, let's open the image in a new tab. And it tells me that it's 953 by 1080. This is the full size of the image. However, this image, currently, if I just inspect it, it should tell me that it's 500 pixels wide. And the browser is doing the calculation. It's 566.625 pixels tall. So real quick, I have uploaded a file and made it work with a page. Let me bring in another image just to show you another way that you can secure an image on your page. I already have this code. I can turn that off. I can keep this open just so that I have it as reference. And this is what my page kind of looks like right now. The other thing that I want to show you, and I'll do this in a new tab, I assume that most of you have a Google account and therefore have access to Google Photos. If you don't, there's other sources out there where you can upload and host files. And like I said, I think that it's not too much to ask that you have a Google account, or if you don't have one, you could create one. Or figure out how to do it on Yahoo, or figure out how to do it on Flickr. It's going to be the same concept. I'll go to photos.google.com, where you can see some of my latest snapshots, mostly of little bugs hanging out. And there's this one that I have interest about. I could click on it, and I can do this multiple ways. The way that I just did it with the quote, I could download this image, or I could not. I'm going to edit this. Click on Edit icon here. What's so cool about Google Photos is that really it gives you access to a full functioning editor. I can crop this file, make it look different. Say I want Phoenix here to be a little bit more prominent in the photo. I can say, okay, well, that's done. I can then say, give me auto shading, and it works with the color a little bit better. So now I can say, hey, all this, I'm done. Save the image. Now I have a new picture of my dog, and it's cropped the way that I like it. It's got a little bit of effects going on there. I now can right-click on it and say, this image right here, copy the image address. I'm going to go back to my editor, and I'm going to paste what I just copied. It's kind of long. And that's something that's sort of a disadvantage, but if you're just going to do it a couple of times, or if you're actually going to be working with a shortener for the files, you can do that as well. Like Bitly or something. Maybe not Bitly, but I'm sure there's others. I will now copy the code because I'm lazy when it comes to typing. Put it there, and I'm going to say in images. Actually, I don't even have to upload this because everything is already hosted in Google. I'm going to cut that, and inside of the quotes, I'm going to paste the address. I haven't worked enough with this editor to show me how to wrap the lines, but I'll figure it out at some point. Just know that now I have the image source being that image of Phoenix online. I can go to the end and say, okay, well, just like the first one, let's make it 500 pixels wide. And I can say that the alternate text, and my computer is crashing. Sorry about that. I will never buy a Dell again. Well, okay, undo what I just did. Discard quote. I'm going to change the text to say a picture of Phoenix. And I said that width is 500. And I've got all of that code in there. I'll delete some of those lines just because they bug me. And I will now go back to my source control and tell it to accept. Just say add it. Well, I guess I could put in some text above saying this is Phoenix. And now commit. It's asking me to put in a comment. Added photo of Phoenix, if I can spell, and commit. Go back to my Explorer. I now have my week 4 folder that has 2 additional directories. One is Dove, that's got its own index file. So if I were to go to that file, and week 4 Dove, I would see the bird watching. But if I were to go to my page, I'll reload to see if it's loaded the file of Phoenix, and there's Phoenix right here. This file is not hosted in GitHub. I didn't have to download and upload. If I right click and open image in new tab, it tells me, oh, that's a Google photo. It's a Google user content. And as long as the folks at Google allow us to do this, I say, why not? Take advantage, of a free hosting for your photos. I'll close that, look at my page again, I'll view the page source. It's got the long name, but like I said, that's a small price to pay for the free hosting. I hope that this made sense to a certain degree, and let me know if you have any questions.